Chatterbait's dead, man. Don't fish it.
All right, boys and girls, we're gonna do something a little bit different today. And we're gonna talk about a bait that, well, a lot of people say is dying, doesn't catch fish. And
Anymore.
Cody is in back of me. Say hi, Cody.
Hello, Cody.
There it is. Why did I know he was gonna say that? We're gonna talk about the chatterbait. And when we say chatterbait, what do we mean, Cody?
Well, I mean, getting snagged on this dumb log. I mean a jackhammer.
We mean an actual chatterbait, not a vibrating jig. Yeah.
Because all chatterbaits are vibrating jigs. Not all vibrating jigs are chatterbaits.
You can take that to the bank. So the deal is, like, you know, a lot of people, I mean, this thing, this isn't new information to a lot of you guys. I mean, the chatterbait or vibrating jig, if you guys like the slobber knocker, what's the other one?
Thunder cricket.
The thunder cricket. God, they got great names, man. The thunder cricket. It's amazing. Anyway, they catch fish. And regardless of what people say, you know, I've heard a lot about, you know, the chatterbait bite's dying.
Been played out.
Been played out. Okay, you don't catch fish on chatterbaits anymore. That's just not true. Did you get your bait yet?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, good.
We're good.
There you go. So we just wanted to talk a little bit about it. And I guess the reason really was twofold, right? I mean, to bring the chatterbait into the light.
Bring awareness to the chatterbait.
Chatterbait awareness. It's important.
It's Chatterbait month.
This is National Chatterbait Month. It's not a thing. But what is a thing is how many fish these things catch. And right now specifically, I mean, just absolutely hammered. If you guys have watched the last few videos, got other videos coming down the pipe, I mean, it's just one after another after another. It seems like, and it doesn't even matter, like, generally the time of day. Like, we just went down a stretch. It's early morning. The sun's just peeking out of the clouds at this point. But he went basically back to back on chatterbaits. He also catches a bunch of logs, a bunch of grass, a bunch of trees.
Mostly trees.
But also he catches a bunch of fish on it. Now, this one here is the Brett Height Delight.
Height.
Green, white. You got chartreuse, green, chartreuse. Some
That was terrible.
bait fish color, some gray, or some browns, some blues. I mean, it's a little bit of everything. It's got a little bluegill in it. It's got a little fucking
Green
thread
pumpkin.
Huh?
Got green pumpkin in there.
Yeah, it's got some green pumpkin. It's got some bluegillish, panfish, shell crackers, they call them. Why do we specifically like the most expensive chatterbait in the free world?
It is not cheap.
I was really hoping that my partner would take over on that real quick, but he's probably snagged on something.
I am not.
Oh, look at that.
Why do we like it?
Why do we like it?
Well, I'll tell you. One, my favorite, it's wire tied. I'm not throwing anything with a skirt unless it's wire tied.
There you go.
Number two, ultra sharp hook. That is something you need. Number three, the second you twist this reel handle, this little bladey here starts vibrating. And I mean the second you touch it.
Mm-hmm.
Why, you might ask, is that important? Well, I'll tell you. When you're fishing, like you guys see here, on these sunken timber or patches of grass or docks or pylons or whatever it may be where you're target fishing, and you cast or flip or skip your chatterbait up to something, you need this thing to start vibrating the second it hits that target, right next to that target.
You've caught a lot of your fish, like, when you threw the bait before you even started.
Yeah.
Because as soon as this thing hits the water, it dives, it starts chattering.
Yeah.
It's that crazy. It doesn't waste any time. I'm a huge fan of the double keeper for the bait.
Huge deal.
Up and down.
Huge deal.
Big deal there. Not a fan of the ones that get bigger around the hook all the way around. Those just tend to tear up the bait. You end up needing super glue, which sucks. I mean, our go-to is a Brett Height Delight. I'm a huge fan of this just shad color, the shad pattern. We almost exclusively use this Hog Farmer.
The Farmer.
I mean, it was built for this bait, really. And We're running a 5.5. They go down all the way to like 3.5, I think now. And you can get some pretty cool colors now that Missile and old John Cruz has started developing colors for them as well. But we really stick to like this, what is this, Tennessee Shed? Spark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tennessee Magic, Tennessee Shed, whatever. Hog Farmer Spunk Shed. It's my favorite name, probably. It's one of my favorite names for a bait.
Spunk Shed?
Spunk Shed. I just think it's hilarious. But everything about this bait really is perfect. I mean, starts up. But the only thing I don't like, and I know Cody doesn't like it a bunch, is on the painted blades.
God.
The paint comes off super quick. They've addressed that issue allegedly with this new. They have a new chatterbait they just brought out. So now they've got like 7 in their lineup. I think it's like $10 or something like that. So I don't understand why you have 7 chatterbaits.
Well, especially when like 3 or 4 of them are basically exactly the same.
Yeah, and the brand new one that just came out is, they actually said that it's basically exactly like a jackhammer. Well, why the hell are you gonna spend $17 for a jackhammer if you can buy that one for $10? So
should we talk about a little bit about how we fish them?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead, man? I mean, the floor is yours while you're fishing it.
When we're fishing a chatterbait, it's very rare that I'm fishing a chatterbait over like a grass flat. Now I know we do it. We do? We do it.
Mm-hmm.
But we much more use a chatterbait as like a target tool, right? Fishing obvious targets, laydowns, like we spoke about earlier, docks, pilings, clumps of grass. As far as using it for like a search bait to fish a giant grass flat, I'm not as into that. Mostly we're target fishing because it works so well. I mean, you got a high percentage area, right? You might as well put a high percentage bait in a high percentage area.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like a retrieve, you can run this as a straight retrieve, but I'm gonna tell you right now, most of our bites come on something different, whether it's a reel pump or I like to use a rod pop. I know a lot of people don't do that with a chatterbait. I really don't know why. Most people use reel pumps to speed it up. You know, you're going reel, 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 reel. I like to snap my rod twice like you're fishing a jerkbait. What it does is when you snap it, it sends that jerkbait kind of off to the side, and then between your next snap, it kind of dies off, and then when you snap it again, it snaps back up and kind of does some really erratic stuff. So I use the rod pop more often than the reel pump. Keep it as erratic as possible, and you can skip it, right? And when I'm skipping over the docks, as soon as I get to reeling, I'm doing one of those things. I'm either pumping the reel or I'm popping it, because like you say, we're fishing target things. You know, I'm fishing that log. I'm fishing that dock piling, so it's going right to it. I want to do some crazy stuff right off the bat. As far as equipment, me and Paul differ a very small amount, but basically exactly the same. My setup is a Dobyns Champion XP. This is the 765 glass crankbait rod. I like a longer rod. Typically Paul goes with a shorter rod. He does a 735. These rods are 7'6", 5 power, which basically means they're medium heavy. More towards the heavy side, I would say, for a glass rod.
Yeah.
They have a lot of backbone. I mean, you can see, like, this is a glass rod and it doesn't really bend past right there, as you can see. A lot of power. You can get them out around dock pilings or out around logs. So it's got enough power, but it plays the fish for you. You don't have to worry about them throwing the hook, which you don't have to worry about on jackhammer most of the time anyways, because it's so sharp, you can get it in pretty deep. Reel, I use a 7.2 to 1. 8 is too fast. Chatterbaits will tend to roll over on you if you get really, really going. So I don't have to pay attention as much. I use 7.2 and I can reel it basically mindlessly. Don't have to worry about rollover. Any slower and I feel like I gotta reel too fast. I'm not into that. Line, also me and Paul different here. For a lot of people, especially down here in the South, me and Paul strictly throw chatterbaits on 12-pound fluorocarbon, straight fluorocarbon. I know a lot of people throw 15, 18, 20 pound, 22 pounds, crazy. I don't understand why. You know, they're worried about getting snagged on a log or a dock piling. I've never had 12-pound fluorocarbon break off on me with a fish on around a piling or a log. And they say, oh, I want to keep it shallower so it doesn't bury itself in the grass. You can just keep your rod tip up,
yeah.
And you can basically control your whole chatterbait from like here is as deep as it's going to go, and then as you come up, what does the chatterbait do? It comes up. So I'm not really interested in using line to run my depth. I just do it myself. It's just something I'm comfortable with, and really what it is, whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, we use 12 for almost everything, and
Yeah.
I'm used to it. I know what it feels like. You know, I know when it needs to be retied. We got a lot of it, so
We do. We have a
that's
lot
it.
of it right under
That's
my
the setup.
ass. Go catch one.
I'm trying.
Crying out
bud.
loud. We'll go over colors. It's real simple, even though it doesn't look like that in here. But I mean, we have the Bread Height Delight, which is pretty much the top one. Between that and
Black and blue.
some sort of, well, we got black and blue too, yeah, but I would say Bread Height Delight and Shad Pattern. It's going to be our top ones. Obviously, your black and blue, that's a staple. Green pumpkin, something like green pumpkinish, something like that. Well, you got your craw baits, you know, the orange and craziness. Seems a little ridiculous, but and we got some baby ones too.
Don't use
Anyhow,
those.
yeah, man. I mean, that's about it. Just really hoping he'd catch fish. It'd be sweet.
Sorry, bud. I'm trying. There's one. Oh my gosh.
Nice. That's why I throw chatterbait. Need one? You gonna flip it?
Nah, he's gonna come. He's gonna come in here just like this. There's
Well,
a rock.
that's how we're gonna end the video, on catching fish on
I told you there's a rock pile out there.
a dead lure.
Chatterbait's dead, man. Don't fish it.